Asylum. Welcome to Shugborough. This is a rather cool tower.
Are you facing it?
I think so. I'm facing it. Can you flip it?
I'm going to try and flip it.
Try and flip it. Do what you can do.
Rotate
Are you now on camera, not me?
No, you are.
I'm on camera. So this is the Tower of the Winds. So we're at the hall. We're at Shugborough, which was basically bought by the Anson family in about 1640.
Oh.
Are we back live? We're back live. Intermittent.
Yeah, if you start going like that, you might get it. You might get it.
So the Tower of the Winds is of the Tower of the Winds at the Agora in Greece, and this was built, like I say, by Thomas Anson. Now George Anson actually paid for a guy called James Athenian Stewart, the designer of this building, to travel all the way out to Greece and to basically learn all about the architecture. He then come back and wrote a book about this architecture, and this then started a huge revolution, I guess, in garden houses all around the UK, where people started to put these things in their gardens for one reason or another. If you go around a lot of the, I guess, places like Wolseley Garden Centre, any garden centre you go around, and you see all of these kind of Grecian urns and these these are the guys who started it. Interesting is, originally, the village of Shugborough actually surrounded this. And when he built the Tower of the Winds, he built the Tower of the Winds right in the middle of it. If you go to the Agora in Greece, it's actually a marketplace, and surrounding the marketplace are lots of buildings and houses. There's also a story that he had a clepsydra here, which I believe is a water pressure clock. And this is a theory that you and I have been working on, Rob, for a few months. We believe we've made a bit of a discovery about this that most people probably don't know much about. Now, what's interesting, follow me around here, what's interesting about the Tower of the Winds is I believe it's this face, which points to the northwest, actually points directly towards the Newport Tower of the Winds in Rhode Island, America, which is fascinating. The one that's on this side points to Rensselaer Chateau in France, which of course we know all about the Knights Templar story and Dan Brown, Da Vinci Code and stuff.
That's another story.
Now, what's interesting about this land was owned by a man called Ormond de Gwydion. He was born in about 1060, died in about 1140. Legend has it that this man was one of the original Knights Templar. Now, actually what he did was he owned land all the way from Biddulph Grange right the way through to Lichfield. You can damn be sure he actually owned this place here. Now, from what I know about Ormond de Gwydion, 1066, Norman Conquest, he was one of William the Conqueror's standard bearers. That's what the Gwydion means, it means standard bearer. Now, he basically, during this time, I guess the Midlands and the north area of the country was a little bit lawless. So what actually happened was he sent all of his kind of noblemen north of the country to kind of go and sweep it up, deal with the renegades and all this sort of business, and settle down the country. So when he did that, there was a battle famously in 1070 in Stafford, which is yet to be discovered, no one knows where it is. He then gave the land to Ormond de Gwydion, the bearer, and he then marries the Baron of Stafford's daughter, and that was what creates the Biddulph family at Biddulph Grange, where we were yesterday with Graham Phillips. It also creates the Weston family of Stafford, and it also goes on, I believe, to create the Bagot family, which is just over there at Lichfield Hall. That way. Where am I? What else do I need to get in now?
It's that direction, my friend.
Now, originally built, like I say, the original town of Shugborough was surrounding this area. What he actually did was he knocked it down and he basically moved people to the village of Haywood, Great Haywood, which is just over there.
That's over the bridge, isn't it?
It's over the bridge on the far side now. Octagonal shape, like I say, based on the Tower of the Winds at the Agora in Greece, in Athens. What was interesting about this area, Rob, was it was surrounded by a lake.
So all this would have been water.
All this, right? We've got a bit of a theory that no one has ever, so you're going to get this live on the internet. This is absolutely exclusive, world exclusive. Right, as you can see, was a little lake. This strange little thing here, which is about the famous flood of 1795, and then it rises up to the Tower of the Winds. This little section that we're sitting on right now. If you go around, let's go around this way, and we'll find one of the maps, and we'll have a look at it. Because and he seems to come right the way up to these steps on the outside of it. Now what's interesting was the stories are that there was a clepsydra here. A clepsydra is a water pressure clock, and in the original Tower of the Winds is actually in the marble floor where the mechanics of this water pressure clock would be. And actually outside in the Agora was like a big sort of concrete basin, I guess, with steps leading down into it. And that would be the water pressure clock. So you can have a number of different water pressure clocks. You can see it here, look, here we go. You can see it on here. So what I'm suggesting happened was this pool, overflow pool, and the clepsydra, the water was in here. Now, the time would never change, because this obviously, like, this is one of the ways that they would map the sun and stuff in order to tell the time. They also started to make water pressure clocks, because they would tell more accurate time, to be quite honest. And if you constantly had a flow of water in, so if you weren't, let's say, taking it from a bucket, the pressure would stay constant, so the time would always stay constant. So I believe this out here was an overflow pool. And what they would have done was then the water pressure clock would have sat in this little piece down here, which they believe, Shugborough themselves believe, is a dairy. Now, I'm not suggesting it isn't a dairy, but we know for a fact that the dairy was actually built over there as well for the granddaughter of George Anson. You can see it here, look, check this out. Now, it was led into by two bridges just here. Initially, it would have had all of the wings on the side, which was something that I guess the Ansons were quite good at. I mean, George Anson circumnavigated the globe.
They loved the decor, didn't they?
Yeah, they were big into it. I mean, he basically paid for George, for James Athenian Stewart, and that's where he gets his name from, to go out to Greece and to learn all about this architecture and then bring it back. And then they popularised it all the way through Northern Europe. And they popularised Ladies and gentlemen, an opal. Here we go, copy of Europe, widely recognised for its central role in the neoclassical movement, its creation of the Greek style, which is what we're looking at, and its impact on the 18th century is due to the publication of Antiquities of Athens in 1762. It was the first accurate record of classical Greek architecture. So the original one in Greece, in the floor here, which we're standing right over, there would be a series of holes and mechanics. And this would raise up basically something that would be like this, telling you the time.
Goes up, goes down.
I think what they would have is they would have like a statue with a man pointing, and he'd be like, it's 12 o'clock, it's 1 o'clock, it's 2 o'clock. And in the original one, those were built in here. Now, Shugborough themselves just believed that the water clock that was here, I think, was probably a small mechanical version. I actually think this whole place was part of the water clock. I think in ancient Greece, you would get, is that a door open? Because this will take you up to the top of it.
No, you're not allowed upstairs.
Oh yeah,
they did say
they're doing the staircase section. Let's go back out, because it's actually a really cool echo chamber in it. But the windows are amazing. The marble structure as well is outstanding. So where were we? What were we on? As we were given this random history lesson. So yeah, the original Tower of the Winds would have had the water pressure clock in the basement of it. And outside it, if you actually look at the original, like a stone structure like this, about 6 feet down, and within it, that's where they would have the flow of the water going in that would create the water pressure clock. So in ancient Greece, when you I guess the beginnings of democracy, when you stand up in, and we still do this today, don't we? We still do this when we turn the sand over when we're playing chess. And when you're talking in Parliament, you get like a certain amount of time. Well, that's where we get the story of water running out of time. It means running out of water. So as that water would continue to flood, what would happen is inside, these guys would be aware that you've got 1 hour to say your piece. You've got 4 hours before it floods. The other thing is I actually think that's an Athenian allegory as well, because it's also based around the idea of Atlantis. So as these guys sat up in their drawing room having fun, the water would have been filling up and you've had this idea that you were sinking beneath the waves, much like the story of Atlantis, which is all over this place as well. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Story, another
Let's go have a little look at it. I think what happened was the lake was here, and it overflowed into this, and then they would return the water back round to James Wyatt's farm. And we know there's a dipping pool in the gardens there, and there's also, what do you call it, a well that's in there.
Mill.
And this is what I was looking for today, and this is what actually really hinges this together. They re-diverted the Sherb we'd come to from our research before. They diverted it around here, came out into this area and filled this lake. The water then overflowed into the clock, and then back to the underground to the well farm that's over there. There's a water wheel there, isn't there, for flour? And it's an underwater wheel, so basically takes the water from the bottom and it lifts it up, and it would have returned it to a holding pool that's on the far side. So constantly you'd been replenishing the farm's water, and they would constantly be taking more out of it, feeding the animals, feeding the crops and whatnot. And the water here would be constantly filling this lake, ready for these guys to do.
Oh, back on.
We're back on tunnels at the moment, and this farm and the part over there became like an early agricultural college. And they believe that these tunnels underneath were for mushrooms. I actually believe, like I say, they diverted the Shugborough and the water would have come back here. They'd have fed it back into the James White farm that's there. They'd have lifted it back up, returned it to the pool, and started the cycle. I think that's the water clock, 100%. And I reckon, given the work with Shugborough, we can prove that as well. So that'd be a pretty cool kind of bit of history there, if we got that right. Peace out, be lucky, the asylums. 20 minutes of full on me, I was like...
Yeah, you have to stop it, it's still playing.
Yay, there you go, Tower of the Winds.
Bit.